There are so many different titles that have been speculated for the new chapter to come on into Dead by Daylight, and a lot of these are actually pretty plausible. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm the King, and welcome back to the channel, to today's video where we're going to be talking about what are the most anticipated and hyped up chapters to come on into the game. We're literally a few weeks out on getting our first teasers on what the next chapter is going to be, and then after that, the huge 5th year anniversary for Dead by Daylight. So I thought it'd be a nice time to really take a look at what the community has really been wanting for a new licensed chapter. To be quite frank as well, right now Dead by Daylight is not in the best state by no means, so I thought it'd be nice to take a look at some of the more uplifting things and future things that could come on into the game, and we'll also tie that in with one of the points later on. I do ask, if you do enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like down below and subscribe for some more Dead by Daylight content. And don't forget that we are currently live on Twitch right now as you're watching this video, so make sure you come on by and tell me what chapter you're looking forward to the most. With that being said, guys, let's go ahead and jump on into this. It is no secret that Resident Evil is at the top of the list for the hype cycle. Normally with Dead by Daylight, we always get the new chapter, we play it out, get the mid chapter, and the hype starts again, and that's exactly where we are. What the next chapter is going to be. Now, in the past, we've had a lot of different speculations that have happened. You know, only last time we were talking about a FNAF chapter coming on in. Before that, we were talking about Candyman, and the list goes on and on. And as of now, Resident Evil is at the top of the list. And honestly, this one isn't as far-fetched. We have an entire video actually dedicated to everything, but to summarize it all, we know that last year for the 4th year anniversary, we got something massive from Konami, which was Silent Hill. We received Cheryl Mason and Pyramid Head, and it was absolutely mind-blowing. Now, it makes a lot of sense that for the 5th year, you would want to top something like that, and it's been a very long time since we actually had a taste of a licensed chapter to come on into the game, so something like this would be absolutely groundbreaking. We know that Dead by Daylight works really closely with Netflix as well, and considering that we recently got some Stranger Things chapters right when the new season had more information released about it, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to think that, hey, because Resident Evil's working with Netflix and DBD works with Netflix, there might be some bundles that have been tied, and we might actually see this chapter coming on into the game. There's also been a ton of speculation about different things, but I want to focus on some of the bigger things. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Dead by Daylight have made some very odd changes to the game, one being the HUD. And the reasoning for the HUD is that they said that it just needs to look a little bit better, which was quite odd, and that they wanted to tie in some new things that they're going to be bringing on in the future, which was a big head scratcher. We don't really know what's going to be coming out, and the only thing that I can presume is that it's going to be something big, because you want to go through all the effort on reworking the HUD and then having so much people dissatisfied. Now, this has been pointed out before, but if you really take a look at the HUD that we currently have and you compare that to Resident Evil's brand new game, and look at their HUD, they are oddly similar. They look almost identical, just with different statistics and variations in them. But it makes you start to think that, why would they want to bring in a HUD like this? Maybe to get some of those players more familiarized with DBD, having a similar type of HUD. But then again, on the flip side, to play devil's advocate, that game didn't really have that much people playing it, so why was this intended? It's a little bit of a stretch, but it does make a lot of sense. Not only that, but we have been tracking some cryptic tweets and a bunch of other things with stars and having that cast coming on into Dead by Daylight, and it does make a lot of sense. We also know that Resident Evil said that they want to work with other companies, and again, this wouldn't be too much of a stretch for Dead by Daylight to reach their hands out and say, listen, let's get something going. Look at all of our previous victories with these licensed chapters, and then the money really talks. So could we see a Resident Evil chapter coming on into the game? Yes, it is very, very possible that we might see something like that coming. Will we see this for the next chapter or the 5th year? We don't really know. If I had to pick, I would say that this would be a 5th year, because it would be a big, big chapter. It would draw a lot of people in, and you would want that for something such as a 5th year anniversary. As for the 4th year, who knows what that can be? We've seen times where we got in literal paragraphs such as Ghostface that came on in, so maybe we get something like Sidney Prescott or something small for the next chapter, but for the 5th year, I'm thinking we're getting something big. Alright, enough with the Resident Evil hype. There are a lot of other chapters that deserve to be talked about that could come on into the game, and there are some little theories that people have been making. I also need to point out, these are all theories. It doesn't mean that they're going to be right by no means. It's just fun to speculate, and you guys really enjoy these as well. That brings us to Chucky. Now, Chucky is someone that a lot of people have also been talking about, but has been a little bit more overlooked with all of the Resident Evil fiasco hype. And the reason why Chucky is on the table again, a lot of people are talking about it, is because we recently seen in the latest chapter the twins coming out, getting someone like Victor and seeing his size and how he interacts with the environment. For the first time ever, it actually showed us what that would look like. A lot of people always were curious on how would Chucky work in the game. Could this be plausible? He's so short, would it work? And as we can clearly see, it can work in the sense with Charlotte and Victor. Now, of course, DBD is going to have to come up with a completely different, elaborate way to incorporate Chucky with something else, or maybe give him magical powers or something like that, but it's plausible. This is something that definitely can happen, and again, wouldn't be too far-fetched to bring on into the game. With DBD already having a wide cast of iconic horror collections, it makes a lot of sense that Chucky would be the next stone. This also ranges the argument for some other killers that aren't in the game yet, but we'll get to that in a second. Now, there's already been a ton of people that have spoken about having a Child's Play chapter in the game, and there's been so much cool things that people have come up with, perks and powers, and even some movie trailers, or trailers I should say, that have been shown to us, and people have done a really good job of picturing what this could be like in DBD. So again, not a too far-fetched idea whatsoever. But speaking of iconic, we cannot forget about the guy, Jason. I'm just kidding. We all know that they're still doing their never-ending lawsuit. For a time, this lawsuit was actually done, and it was over until there were counterclaims and counter-arguments and more and more and more, so something like this coming into the game would be such a far stretch. In theory, there are loopholes and ways that they could get something like this, and I would be super duper surprised if that were to come on into the game, but the odds of that are still slim to none because of all the current lawsuits that are going on, and it wouldn't make sense for DBD to bring something like this on board. However, on the flip side of lawsuits, one that has ended actually pretty quickly was the Hellraiser series with Pinhead. This was a lawsuit that came out and everyone was speculating and saying that DBD won't be able to get the rights. They need to act fast on this. And successfully, this lawsuit was actually done and over with the writer having successfully claimed the horror franchise from the producers. This was pretty awesome. So it means that this is again on the table and DBD can grab something like this. And when the Death Slinger came out, we all assumed that this was going to happen. There was no other reason for them teasing chains, but maybe it was just a tease that, hey, we might get 2 chain killers coming on in the future. I'm kidding, but hey, you never really know. DBD are very elaborate with some of the hints that they give to us. Now that's going to take us to the final person on my list, and logically speaking, that would be Candyman. Candyman has been so hyped up and speculated, and there's just been so much evidence that has pointed towards Candyman coming into the game. However, with the movie being delayed because of COVID, it was only logical that if there was a chapter coming out as well, when the hype was going around, to push this back until the movie was actually launched. Now, the movie still has not been launched and is expected to be coming out on August 27th, but it does make sense that we could see it a little bit early in DBD in June if this were to come out. We know that the DBD anniversary is on June 14th, so it could make sense that we could see this a few months earlier on the game itself. Again, there was so much evidence and so much hype going around this, and with all of the unfortunate events, it could have been likely that this was pushed off, and we did receive a chapter like The Blight, something that was in the back pocket of the devs to push out whenever they needed a quick escape to come on in, and that's what a lot of people speculated. Now, I don't know how valid that argument could be, and that The Blight wasn't actually planned and it was just pushed in as they work on a lot of chapters months and months ahead of time. But if it is true, it could mean that we could see someone like Candyman coming into DBD. Now that is pretty much going to wrap up this list of basically hyped up chapters to come on in. Again, we always do videos like this because there's so much hype going around, and it seems that every cycle there's something different at the top. You've seen the examples with Resident Evil, with Candyman, with FNAF, and so much other things. So I thought I'd go ahead and put it all into a nice video, and let me know what you guys think about it. Who do you want to see coming on into DBD? I would love to know down below. And don't forget, we are live on Twitch, so make sure you guys do come on out and say hello to the stream. Again, as I said at the beginning of the video, DBD is currently in a very rough patch, and hopefully in a few weeks they can actually sort some things out and make it a lot better, because right now it is not really fun to play. And a lot of content creators have been saying the same thing, and I have to agree. So hopefully this can put a brightened mood on your whole DBD swing, and maybe in a few weeks when everything gets patched, we can get back into the swing of things. But my friends, that is going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure you leave a like down below, subscribe for some more daily Dead by Daylight content, and as always, I'm the King. I tip my crown to you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.